Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing the Gameweek 13 buy, sell, keep, avoid video. So if you do enjoy this kind of content, please do make sure you are leaving a like, massively appreciated. And do subscribe if you're new around here. Let's crack on. Before we go any further, I once again want to give a shout out to Ultimate Champions, the free-to-play fantasy football game that takes things to the next level. If FPL is the present of fantasy sports, I guess Ulti Champs is the future. This week I want to have a look at the new Bundesliga teams in the game. Bayern Leverkusen and Wolfsburg, as players from these teams are in packs from today. I like Mecha as he seems to be the main guy at Wolfsburg right now, scoring those goals. Plus, he used to play for Man City, so I kind of remember him. And how can I not give a shout out to Jeremy Frimpong?
Jeremy Frimpong.
Banging in those goals from right back. The unique thing about this game as well is that because it doesn't reset each season, if you can grab some of these younger guys, you're kind of set for life. You can see them develop as players over the years and keep them in your team. And I guess they just become more and more useful as seasons progress. New packs drop throughout the day every Thursday on the store if you want to check them out. So come and get involved by clicking the link in the description and join the FPL Mate mini league as well and compete with the likes of myself and FPL Raptor. Come on, get involved guys. In the description, let's go. Ultimate Champions. Okay, so buys are players you probably don't have much to consider bringing in. Sells are players you probably have much to consider removing. Keeps are players that you might be thinking about removing, but I think you should keep them. And avoids are players that are pretty hyped up right now, but I think they are potential traps that should be avoided. Every time I say those rules, I feel like I'm saying it quicker and quicker. I could become a rapper, I swear. Let's start you off with some buys. Okay, so my first buy is going to be Phil Foden, the #1 target for this game week. I think everyone is going to agree with that if you don't have Phil Foden in your team, you probably don't because you may have removed him or kind of hesitated on buying him because of the blank in game week 12. Now is the time to go for him because he has had that real nice rest. Man City, the only team that didn't play midweek in the Premier League, so they're going to be really fresh against a Brighton team, which I think is capable of kind of conceding a few chances with the attacking play that they've got going on right now. So we're hoping for good things. His underlying stats are really good. He has obviously scored a lot of goals, but they are kind of backed up by underlying stats as well there. You can see 2.28 expected goals and 1.1 expected assists over the last 5 game weeks, which included 4 games for Man City. So he's taking plenty of shots. He's creating for his teammates as well. A lot of the attention is being given to Erling Haaland in the centre, which is allowing a little bit more freedom for Foden. It's great for him to have that ability to score some goals with Haaland kind of dragging the defenders away. So definitely a great pick going forward. And I would replace pretty much any 8 million midfielder you have with Phil Foden at this point. Our other buy is going to be Saka. So I know it's going to be kind of a difficult one because they're both kind of midfielders that are in a very, very similar slot in that 8 million-ish midfielder kind of profile, I guess. But I think Saka is almost as good as Foden as well in terms of a player you could be going for right now. Saka obviously on penalties, and his penalty record has been really, really good since he has been taking them for Arsenal. He's scoring a few goals, and equally, just like Man City, we've got some really good fixtures coming up. Southampton next, who have been kind of weak defensively, then Nottingham Forest. And even that Wolves game in a couple of game weeks' time, I feel like Wolves are not quite the defensive unit they once were. And with Arsenal's form at the moment being so good, they will be really looking to try and take things to the next level to make sure that they are first, #1 in the Premier League by the time the World Cup comes around. I think they can definitely do it. And Saka is going to be a huge part of that just because of the form he is showing right now. He really is kind of outperforming all of his teammates. Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus. Yes, those players are doing very well right now. And you'd also recommend having them in your team. But Saka is just, he's just the #1 attacker at Arsenal right now. He's really showing us what he can do, showing us the same kind of form that he kind of had the second half, I guess, of last season where he was absolutely killing it and ended up being one of the highest scoring players in FPL over the course of the season. So really, really good stuff. I would try and get Saka in as well if you can. If you can't, maybe you can wait one more game week before getting Saka. Foden is the priority, but Saka is certainly up there as well. My first sell is going to be Trossard. So I know a lot of you guys brought in Trossard in game week 12 for that Nottingham Forest game as a kind of a 1-week punt. Maybe you got him slightly earlier than that to try and capitalise on a couple of game weeks. Unfortunately, things didn't go to plan in game week 12, but it doesn't mean that he's necessarily a bad player. I thought Trossard actually did really well. The reason we're selling him is because these fixtures, these next 2 fixtures, Man City and Chelsea, they're really not too good, are they, in terms of fixtures? And we do worry, is Trossard going to be playing at left wing back a little bit more from now on? I'm not sure. I feel like he could move back into the attacking positions, but it's kind of unnecessary to keep a player like this when with these really bad fixtures, when we can move to a Foden or a Saka if you've got that budget. So in terms of those midfielders you want to be moving on, Trossard would certainly be very high up on those lists, I guess. And I'll put Mason Mount in that kind of category as well in terms of those midfielders. I know a lot of you guys have. Maybe we can add Maddison as well to this kind of profile of midfielder around the 8 million mark who you do want to remove. I do feel like we could be potentially removing Mount as well. I know he has got some decent FPL scores recently, but the difference is with Mount is that his underlying numbers aren't really matching up to his kind of point scores, I guess. 2 goals and 2 assists, obviously, but his expected goals is reasonably low over the past 4 games that he's played. His expected assists reasonably low as well. These are not like mega levels. They're not levels that you kind of expect or hope for from a player of this price. And I feel like he has been a little bit lucky that, you know, we saw with a free kick, he's not going to be able to score free kicks like that every single game, like the one he scored against Aston Villa. And obviously, Mings basically gifted him the first goal as well. So I kind of do worry a little bit about how sustainable Mount's returns are going to be. The next game against Manchester United, kind of tough. We've got that Arsenal game coming up. We've got the Newcastle game coming up as well. These are not amazing fixtures in general. They're kind of like mid to bad kind of fixtures. So, yeah, Mount is definitely someone I would consider selling for the likes of Foden, for the likes of Saka, if you prefer to go that way. Maybe you've already tripled up on Man City, in which case maybe you can go for Foden, go for Saka in that kind of instance. But also, I just feel like there's a few other players that you could potentially sell that I do want to give a quick mention to. Other kind of popular players around that mark, maybe Zaha, maybe Bowen. I do feel like, even though I still do like both Zaha and Bowen, rip the penalty miss, by the way, I still feel like I would strongly consider selling these guys for a Foden, because Foden really is that good. So this week, I think it is going to be about selling those mid-price midfielders that you have and replacing them with a Foden or replacing them with a Saka. That seems to be the way we're going. First keep is Gabriel Jesus. So I've seen actually a lot of people are selling Jesus this game week, which I'm kind of surprised by. If you've kept him over game week 12, then I feel like you've got to keep him for a little bit longer. Now, I know that he's on 4 yellow cards and maybe he's going to pick up a 5th one and get that suspension. Yes, that is very, very possible for that to happen. But at the same time, who are you moving them to? Like, I see there are a couple of other forwards that you could potentially go for, but I feel like just keep Jesus. The fixtures are good. He is still performing very, very well. Obviously, yes, Saka is slightly better, but Jesus' underlying numbers, you can see, are really, really phenomenal. Like 2.9 expected goals. So he's actually been a little bit unlucky not to score a little bit more because he's only scored 2 goals with the 2.9 expected goals. He's still taking plenty of shots in the box. You know, he has completely transformed this Arsenal team, and I do expect him to get more points. He's one of those players, really, that in a way I kind of wish I could buy it. In a way, I would rather buy him than sell him. Like, that's kind of how I feel. I think he leans more to a buy than a sell, and I know a lot of people are selling him, which I just don't think is right. Like, if you are kind of looking at some other forwards, could you maybe wait until after the Nottingham Forest game, maybe sell him for that Chelsea game? Is it possible to keep Gabriel Jesus? If that is possible for you, then I think you should keep him. Next keep is Mohamed Salah. I know a lot of people are giving up on him already, and I have to admit, guys, having watched the game last night, it was kind of a bit frustrating to see Salah playing so wide. It feels like maybe the momentum that we were starting to see from Salah, all of the chances he was getting, I mean, you can see on screen, guys, 2.4 expected goals. That's an insane amount. Obviously, he's underperformed on that. You know, he's taken an insane amount of shots. So I feel like, really, what we're kind of hoping for with Salah, really, and the reason I'd keep him is because there is a very strong chance that the likes of, you know, Darwin or Firmino do get dropped out of the team, and we do see, well, not dropped necessarily, but rotated out of the team. And Salah, with the nailedness that he kind of provides, is going to be playing once again as part of a 2-forward situation, like he did against Man City, like he did against Rangers, where he was putting up some really good performances, and it felt like Salah was back. It's a shame to see him pushed out wide for that West Ham game. I don't think too many of us saw that one coming, because we really thought, okay, Liverpool have got their mojo back, and they've got their Salah back. Surely they're going to want to keep that going. And now that they've kind of scraped past West Ham, maybe, you know, if Bowen scores that penalty, then maybe that's a 1-1 draw with West Ham. Maybe they're going to, you know, go back. Jurgen Klopp is going to go back and think, okay, we need to get a little bit more out of Salah. Let's maybe, maybe put him back into the forward slot. So I feel like that is a real possibility of that happening. And the potential, the upside of this, if Salah does go back to that kind of striker position, essentially, then we're going to see some really decent point hauls in the Nottingham Forest and Leeds game. Would I be captaining him? Probably not. I think it's a little bit too risky, just in case he is playing wide. But if he's playing centrally, look through these fixtures, guys. Forest, Leeds, we've got Southampton in 16 as well. the potential is enormous for points here. It really is. I know it sounds like, you know, this is very speculative, but I think that, you know, just that potential is enough for me to want to keep Salah. Finally, some avoids, the controversial ones. My first avoid is going to be Saliba. And I know you guys are going to be like, Dan, what do you have against Saliba? Why don't you want us to bring him into our teams? Well, I've got a couple of reasons. And I do think there are some genuinely really good reasons to avoid Saliba. Now, first of all, Ben White is also kind of nailed on in that Arsenal defence, and Ben White comes in at 4.5 million, so that's 0.6 million cheaper than Saliba. So, you know, you can, if you want to get that Arsenal defensive cover, completely understand. You know, some of these fixtures coming up, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, and Wolves as well, we kind of expect at least a couple of clean sheets from these games, which would be really, really lovely. It would be really, really nice. Saliba is not the one to go for because, one, he's more expensive than all of the other defenders at Arsenal right now, and I don't think he really is, you know, why is he worth the extra money? You can see on screen, guys, the stats. His expected goals, his expected assists, like, they're very, very low. He's only taken one shot. I know people will say, well, Saliba is a threat from corners, he's a threat from set pieces. The numbers don't suggest that to be true. He's only taken one shot, and yes, that shot did end up being a goal, but we're not seeing any consistency of that. Now, another thing that not a lot of people realise is that Saliba is also another one of those players who is on 4 yellow cards right now. So it means that if he gets one more yellow card, he is going to get a suspension as well, and he won't even be able to play at all. So a couple of reasons there, really, guys. I would rather go for Ben White if you want to go for an Arsenal defender. I'd pretty much rather go for anyone else, to be honest, because they're cheaper. You get the same amount out of them. I mean, Ben White's underlying stats, he's actually creating a little bit. He's actually looking like he's got more of a chance of getting attacking returns at the moment. So, looking forward, Saliba, great player, great defender, potential for bonus, of course, but he's a little bit too expensive for me. And that risk of the 5th yellow card really swings me towards some other Arsenal defenders. So I would avoid Saliba, but be interested to hear your thoughts, guys, on why you think Saliba is kind of a better player to go for than the likes of Ben White or maybe some of the the other Arsenal defenders. Let me know in the comments why you think Saliba is the one to go for. And my next avoid is Alisson. So we're seeing a lot of transfers in for Alisson, and you can kind of see why. It's because his point scores have been very, very good over the last couple of game weeks. Very, very good. But my issue with that is that it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not going to keep happening. So game week 11, we saw Alisson get an assist. Obviously, the long kick through to Salah to score that goal against Manchester City. You know, the clean sheet plus that. That gives him some big points, right? Very big points plus bonus. So everyone was like, amazing, big score from Alisson. Next game against West Ham, he saves a penalty. These things, when they happen in isolation, they are amazing. And when you have a player, you know, a goalkeeper who gets a goal contribution or a goalkeeper who gets a penalty save, you're absolutely laughing your way all the way to the points bank. But unfortunately, these are not common occurrences for anyone. You could say Alisson's a great penalty saver if you want. How often are Liverpool going to concede penalties? You can say Alisson is, you know, great doing those long kicks and putting the the strikers in on goal. How often are our teams going to play such a high line against Liverpool? It's really infrequent that these kind of things happen, and it's not going to happen again. Like I say, it's not going to happen again throughout the rest of the season. I wouldn't be totally surprised if Alisson makes one more penalty save between now and the end of the season, or makes one more assist between now and the end of the season. But the chances of that happening in the next 4 game weeks before the World Cup is so low. The chances are so low. So 5.4 million is very expensive for a goalkeeper. I don't mind him really, to be honest. You know, if you already have him. But would I be using a transfer to get him in when I could be using my transfers on, you know, a Foden or a Saka? No way. No way. Not a chance. So whatever goalkeeper you have right now, I'm sure they're plenty good enough. If that's Pope, Guaita, Kepa's pretty popular right now. These guys are all cheaper, maybe with the exception of Pope. I think he's getting pretty expensive, isn't he? But overall, Alisson, it's got to be an avoid for me. Don't get drawn in by those high point scores. He is not going to make any more assists or penalty saves anytime soon. Probably. Alright guys, so in conclusion, basically what we want to be doing this week is removing our mid-price midfielders and getting in the likes of Foden and Saka. That's probably the priority number 1 for all of you guys, unless you already have these players, in which case maybe you can start to look elsewhere. But yeah, basically we want to get back in on Man City and Arsenal. They have absolutely insane fixtures coming up, and they're the top 2 teams in the Premier League right now, you would say. So get these players, from Man City and Arsenal. Now that their blank is out the way, sacrifice pretty much whoever you want to in order to get these players. There's no such thing as a bad transfer out, really, when it comes to getting in Foden. I'll say that for sure. But there you go, guys. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like. It really does help out the channel so much. Do subscribe as well if you're new around here. And don't forget to check out Ultimate Champions in the description if you are interested in taking on another fantasy, kind of fantasy football game that is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more nerdy. Maybe that's just me, but I'm sure it's a few of you guys as well. So there we go, guys. More videos to come. Got my team selection. I'm going to try and do a strategy stream at some point tomorrow as well. So I hope to see a few of you guys there. But that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.